All right, roll ad.
Marketing is a means to an end. And the end is the growth of the business in a profitable way.
We have 5 new pieces of creative. And so I said, what if we did this?
No bidding strategy is going to cure a bad business model.
Very true. This is where it's really crazy.
Hello. Welcome. John Moran. Welcome to the Ad Lab.
It's good to be here. I love it.
I know.
It's energizing.
Gives me goosebumps every single time.
I know, right? So I just had to make my last change before I presented, so I was all panicking. I'm like, oh no, I'm going live, and this thing is loading yet. So I got distracted.
That's all right. That's all right. We're distracted marketers here a bit. It feels like we just
caffeinated ADHD. Right?
Look at this, baby. I got the Celsius going. You got the bang going,
and the coffee.
And the coffee. Can we have any more caffeine?
I don't know. It's actually tea. So, but it's still chai. So it's like the hard tea. It's a man's tea.
That's good. That's good. Love a good man tea. Well, for everybody that we missed getting to their comments on Monday, this is your opportunity to do that here today. We'll certainly get to that. We always seem to get excited about what we're talking about and then neglect our comments. But anyway, we'll get better at that as we move along here. We're learning just as much as you guys are. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching us here. I'm actually in the Orlando Library, if you can believe it or not.
Oh, really? Isn't there like a little old lady shushing you every 5 seconds?
No, it's amazing. It's the most amazing library I've ever been to, which is the strangest thing to say, because it's all about like technology. This is a podcast studio that's in the library.
That's amazing.
They have all these, classrooms. They have a photo studio. They have a video shoot studio. They've got there's a band that's practicing like in a room like 2 doors down from me. Like you can't even hear them, like a soundproof room.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. So anyway, we're in this podcast studio here today. Plus you can't beat the price, $25 for the whole day, John. So
it's like libraries have come, up to the 21st century all of a sudden.
I know, something like that. They're not just about books.
I was gonna say, not just books. Amazon's still their free customer.
It is. This one definitely reinvented itself. It's a model for
Good for that.
Libraries around the world. So anyway, a model for all digital marketers around the world is some of the stuff that we're talking about here. And we have been for weeks and weeks at a time. You've got a new strategy that you're going to lay on us today.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with TOFU MOFU BOFU, but I'm not sure. Maybe you can enlighten the listener.
That could be a use case. Yep.
Got it.
So we're inventing more levers to pull in the Andromeda matrix. We know that spend is extremely important. We know that hook rate needs to be achieved first before the spend can be spent. And we know that the spend, that spend is going to, from a content perspective, has to be relevant to the message that we're trying to achieve. We know all of those things to be true. That's not really revolutionary. But in the Andromeda model where the creative does the targeting, the creative gets to decide if it gets its own hook rate and how much spend it gets. It is sort of self-governing, and it's self-governing by the AI. Now that is good, but there's also extremes to every good. So you can have a lot of good cold traffic, but you can have too much cold traffic, because if you're not remarketing, or if you're not having a lot of good warm traffic engagement, that cold traffic is just, like a car that drives by that sees a billboard and never turns around. They're all cold. They're just not converting. So we now know that we have to have obviously a good balance of spend to the right proper messaging, and the messaging has to all talk to each other. Here's who I am. Here's what my product is or my service is. This is why you should care, why it's important. And then it's also on sale. I have 5 left. It's Black Friday, whatever. So you have your attention, interest, decision, action. So AIDA, that's an old one. Top, middle, bottom. That's one. Cold, warm, hot. That's another one. Scarcity, introduction, and value proposition. That's not, you can categorize these in any way that your heart contents. That's why there's different media buyers. We're all basically just painters with a paintbrush, and Facebook is our canvas. So my model that I like to present to you of how to best leverage this that I've come up with so far is based on a test that I accidentally tried something and found out a new mechanical capability that I'm going to now leverage in what I believe to be one of the most impactful changes to Andromeda strategies that I've come up with to date.
Wow.
So looks like this.
That's a big
I'm going to pause camera so you can. Yeah. It is. And it was done so by this. This is that Yellow Leaf Hammocks company. They are a client of mine for some time from many, many years ago. And I'm just trying to see if I can kind of like help them in their journey, their next journey, I should say. So this here is the first first week of the changes that I made. We have already presented this last week. This one is that company that was losing $1 million. And we then shut off 191 of 200 ads. We ended up getting 65% more revenue with 10% more new visits for 50% less money. So we got more visits, more sessions, more new users for half the price in Meta, which is usually something that's unheard of, but it is following this model. The way that we were doing that is because I said, hey, content is important. And of all the content that we have running, these 8 tell the full story. We have philanthropy, we have variety, we have durability, we have influencer. We have everything. This is a very, very, very extremely well-rounded test. We put 100% of our ads back to it. Everything did much better. Company got better. And then now last week, this went from a 2.8 all last year to a 3.23 in the first week. And now this last week, we're up to almost a 5. And I still have yet to add $1 to it. So this thing is cranking. And also, even if you look at the accrual model is also really, really good. So this is all perfect. So far, so good. Now we need to increase spend and we need to get more ads. The problem is this has too much spend allocation that I would disagree with. Meaning when I said, hey, I need to put 100% of my spend here, I would have wished that I didn't have my top 2 ad spend being the same thing. I understood why it did that, but now I said, okay, so these top 2 ads are the same videos talking about philanthropy. I understand why it did that because I have a lot of warm traffic that only knows that I sell hammocks, but they didn't know that it supports 440 weavers in a different country. That's a whole different spin on that. You think differently about this company. Then I have variety, durability, testing, portability, yada, yada, yada. All of this stuff is good. I really would like to have about $1,200 or about $2,000, which is here. So I could do $2,000 a week there. I'd really like to have about an additional $1,000 a week here. And I'd really like to have an additional $1,000 a week here. I'm spending well, maybe on the high side. I'm spending good, but not consistently. And I'd like to be able to spend more. And I'd like to actually spend more first here. And then this, I'd like to keep low, but I'd like to have it more than just like the 4 and 114 out of $3,000. I'd like to have at least 100. So how do we do that? Well, I accidentally, during a different time period, said, can I produce a new ad set without interrupting the existing campaign or the existing ad set spend? And can I add in new ads to a campaign and see how it affects it? Ignore these titles here just for a moment. What I did is I said, yes, with Andromeda, I can take a high spending, high performing ad set. I can develop a new ad set. I can spend money on it and I can make that all incremental. I can all spend here without drawing down from there. Excellent. That means I have control over the content now and I have control over the spend in the content now. That's what that unlock was. Oh, now I have the capability to be like, don't do anything to these people, but let's talk to them more about durability. Now I get to choose what message I get to portray. So if I can do that, how does it overall have an effect? Well, an untrained eye would say, hey, these ads here that you just launched it with new one is doing much better than these ads from before. Why do you say that? Well, because look at AB, look at CPA, 29 versus 17. The new ads that you just launched are great compared to the old ones. You have to look at how it affects everything. We actually found out that the $19 average that we had before turned into a $27 average. Now, the $19 people that I used to love said, I hate you now because all the good buyers went over and engaged with those. But the rest of the people said, I'm out of here. That actually happened because this one was a vulgar ad that just never was a joke that never landed. That's why I compartmentalized these. But watch now what I can do. I modeled this here and we're going to be building it out. But now what I can do is say, okay, how much money are we spending on intro or top of funnel? Or, hi, I'm Bob. Welcome to my company. Then how much money are we going to say? Let me tell you about the company. we've been in business 25 years. We have 175 agents. We're top 5 ranked, blah, 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 blah. And this product is, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and it blah, 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 blah. And now I'm just telling you about my product, service, whatever it is, middle of funnel. And then let me tell you but after I get done telling you about this amazing product, it's on sale. It's only have 3 left. It's, curing, blindness, and it comes with a gold bar. I get to adjust the level of spend now per message in my mix. But all I have to do is ensure that whatever ads I put in there are high performing, like getting good hook rates. Okay. So that means that if I look at my customized column and I add my hook rate here, these hook rates, these ads were great. Yes, absolutely. The new ads that we put in, let's say more BOFU ads or more TOFU ads or whatever it is, if we look at the hook rate, they got 22% compared to the 19. That's why these things immediately, sorry about the language here. That's just the joke ad. It's about a glove, and they had to complete a job with their hand using a glove, i.e. a hand job. Yes. Okay. That's why I was like, that's a bad idea. Let's just not do that. But as soon as I put ad spend to it, starting on the 11th, and I said $50, can you spend $50 a day? I can. I even have good hook rates. I'll overspend. Okay, stop, because you're affecting my actual performance, and this is not good. So if we can say, what message do we have to deliver to sell chai tea? Hi, I'm Bob, and I have chai tea. It's the best chai tea you ever had. Intro, focus on hooks. How much ad spend? At least 60%. We want a steady stream of cold traffic. Okay, now when they say, that's pretty cool tea, how's it taste? Wow, the taste fantastic. It's smooth. It never loses flavor, stays cold forever. That's amazing. It's also, lightweight and handy and durable and portable. Oh, this is amazing. You can take your chai tea with you. This is fantastic. And now, bottom of the funnel. It's only $2.99. It's on sale. We actually buy one, get one free. If you do this, you get a free carrying case. And it's sale ends Friday. That means only be 20%, because if I launch a sale ad and it gets 80%, I wipe out the whole funnel. I got to restart from scratch. So here's how the theory works. The theory works as to why do we see this all the time, left versus right? Left versus right, meaning if I look into this campaign here, the Leaf Hammock campaign, we can start to see a wave. It's a wave in the matrix. The matrix is showing us something. It's actually really cool. When we look at this spend here and we look at it intraday or intra-week, I should say, we launched it on the 8th. But if I look at the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th compared to this period here, and I look at just this ad here, and I look at the spend, this is what we're seeing, that it was noise before, but now it makes sense. Why did that go up 300? That go down 30? Why did that go up 150, but that went down 50? And why did that go up 324? Everything just like shotgun approaches every day. And we're like, what is going on? This stuff is not consistent at all, but it actually is perfectly consistent for every individual user. This is getting insane. Watch this. I have to bust out paint. This here is your, okay, we'll call it TOFU. And then we'll call it MOFU. And then we'll call it BOFU. So the reason why this works is you actually have your pixel here in your audience. Let's say you launch a campaign. The first thing you need to do is bring in cold traffic, and you see these ads start to get a lot of good spend. This is the spend. That's the intro ads. Well, now that you brought the majority of intro ads, those intro ads can't go and sell everybody everything. So more people in the middle of the funnel start to get more spend. The ads that need to now tell stories start to get attention. Now the campaign can't scale, but it's a good, really middle of the funnel campaign. And it's solid. But then you run a sale. And now all of your ad spend, John, we uploaded 10 sale ads and it got all the spend. What happened? That's because we're peaked towards the BOFU now. What happened to, wait. Stop everything. What's going on with all of our cold traffic right now? It's dead. Why? All of our spend's over here. Does this mean that after the sale ends, we're going to feel a lull in the traffic? Yes, it will, Bob. That's what happens. It's a wave. It moves people through the funnel. But what if I got to lock in or find the most optimal levels that I need and scale the entire thing?
What if?
So that's what we're going to test.
So this is the beauty of this algorithm, I think, now, is that it understands all this. And I think we might need to repeat or reiterate this in like the most basic sort of way, because it's a lot for people to understand. I'm having a hard time getting people to understand exactly how transformative this really is and how different.
Let me put my tinfoil hat on. It's going to get crazy in here.
Well, I mean,
it's true though.
Meta's goal is to be able to, you just upload the ads and we take care of everything. And the algorithm's going to figure it all out for you. And we're going to know exactly where to spend at which part of the funnel at the exact right time. And then we're not too far off from that, because that's what's happening right now, but it's just going to get even more and more effective.
We all called ourselves geniuses 5 years ago for predicting that. And now we're eating our own lunch going, it's not happening.
Well, I mean, Meta always claimed that was the end goal. I think I do think that Meta's end goal, and if you read anything from Zuckerberg, is like he wants this to be a self-serve, self-automated platform.
Self-driven,
which maybe by the time that actually happens, you and I will be retired, or rich, right? Or like bought out. The point is that this kind of stuff now, to explain it, it's like your hands-off approach is the best approach. And so many. How often do you have to explain that? Like, you don't really want to touch a whole lot, although you have been touching more and more, and that's the reason why we do these shows, because this is the bleeding edge stuff that you're doing in the ad lab, cooking up chaos in the conversion kitchen before it's prime time, before we sort of roll it out to our team, media buyers, all that sort of stuff. At what point in time is it just going to be, I'm just going to create ads, I'm never going to touch a damn thing, as long as I know like my back end is taking care of itself from an ENCAC standpoint? How close are we to that?
We're still pretty far away, because what you decide to upload, it matters. Right. It already says if you upload everything that I need in order to autonomously introduce, grab the attention, get a decision, and get the action all on my own while you sleep. If you can give me that, I can do it. Now, plus obviously 10 other things that we talked about for like the last year, but it boils down to that. Yeah. If you upload 7 of the same thing and it's bad, no AI in the world is going to convince Ralph to buy this tea. It can only assist so much, but if you have a bad company with a bad product at a bad price and no way to explain it, it will never work. So we're in that you have to be a good company to win environment, because it is the people that decide if you get to even get cold traffic from Meta.
It is true. So it really becomes an offer issue at the end of the day. But also, we're talking about a glove in one of these examples here. It's a glove. Like, I can go buy a glove at Home Depot for $10, $12, probably $20 now. But let's say, we're talking about a $120 glove.
Yeah, and it's an expensive decision.
It's an expensive glove. But to convince somebody to pay $120 versus $20 at Home Depot, it's going to take a lot of content, a lot of convincing. And it's not a breakthrough product by any stretch. It's a good product, but it's an expensive product that's different. Maybe it's higher quality. And so all this is really about is just making sure that you're highlighting the right features and the really unique part of what do you do different? What is the
brand too?
The brand itself. So you're getting branding at the same time. And then this is always the question that I get, and I've had a number of client calls and visits this past week, is, well, the creative, all I want is just the best performing ads. And then you guys iterate on those. And I'm like, well, best performing is relative. Like, how do you figure out what's best performing now?
I can give you an amazing hook rate. If you have an elephant that can do a backflip. Now, it won't sell welding equipment.
Not going to sell a product. Right. It's not going to sell a glove.
But we weren't talking about sales. We were talking about hook rate.
Right.
Yeah.
So
if we want to change topics back to sales, let's talk about hook rate as opposed to sales. Okay.
Well, you actually pointed this out on one of the calls that we had with the team one time. This is a client that's in the services space, and they had sort of an, I always forget it because my kids are into it, but ASMR, where it's like, talking like this, and they had some of those ads, but they didn't sell anything.
Yeah.
They weren't actually giving any sort of value. They were just sort of showing the thing being done. And so it got a great hook rate and got a great hold rate. But we determined that maybe you need to, you've got their attention, but you need to be able to sort of introduce the product in one way, shape, or form. So that's a great example of an elephant doing backflips, getting a great hook rate and hold rate, but not doing anything to move the sale down the line. So how do you
have the
differentiate?
perfect analogous situation to that. Watch this.
Okay.
I didn't realize the power of what you said until this last 2 weeks. And if I say
what I said,
well, the importance of branding.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where it's like, what message are you delivering? What brand are you portraying? How are you educating the market about you now? And I didn't realize what branding was, because I thought branding was like, a logo and a color.
Yeah.
I was so negligent and stupid and ignorant to that I didn't realize it's how people feel about your brand. And
well, you're a performance marketer, so it's not the thing that you would think of
exactly.
First, but yeah,
exactly. You're like, how do I like what column's that?
Yeah. Right.
And that is where that was where I missed. I was looking for the tree that would tell me if the forest is nice, and I didn't look at the freaking forest. So what I found out is, check this out. This is the time period here that I paused 90% of the ads. And you're going to see this campaign here that was spending $7,800 a month, $8,000 a month on trying to sell these thrones. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I paused that. I said, no more $8,000 trying to sell thrones. Hammock thrones are expensive. You are not going to just buy one of these $4,000 hammock thrones. Okay. This is a large consideration purchase because it's $4,000.
Oh, this is the throne. Okay. I was thinking of their regular product, which is far less, like 1/10
no
price.
Their Vista. Yeah, their Vista's $350. You want the throne?
Right.
The throne is going to start at $4,000.
That's what my neighbor has, by the way.
There you go. Yep. Exactly right. So these are creme de la creme. I would imagine your neighbor is more of an affluent person. Oh, sorry. I'm breaking up.
We're both
breaking up. Oh, okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Yep. So this is not something that you're just going to wander in and buy a $4,000 throne. Now, the client really needs these sales, though, because that is a great AOV and a great profit.
Fabulous.
So I said, well, we're going to pause it all. So we paused it all, and I only kept the Vista running. The Vista that we started running on the 8th, if we look at the ads, it doesn't have any thrones in here. Mm-hmm. I have the Vista. I have, their philanthropy. I have them being on Shark Tank, but you don't have the throne in here. Mm-hmm. And that's been since the 8th. If we go up to the top since the 8th, their thrones have 80% less traffic, right?
Yep.
You can see that here, this throne page. Now, all that stuff down.
And you shut it off when again?
I shut it off on the 8th at the beginning of this time period.
Okay.
So I shut it off on the 8th. That was almost a month ago. Mm-hmm. If we look at almost a month ago up until yesterday, March 5th, I have sold 11% more thrones up to almost $100,000. So you want to sell more thrones? All you have to do is not market the throne ever again. What digital marketing message does that portray? And this has been going on for a month. This is not like, I shut off yesterday and made a sale today. No, this is going on for 30 days later. The reason why is because if you are a person where this is going to be important, the portability of something and the helping 440 female weavers that are miles in the jungle provide for their families that they never could. If you're the type of person that can throw down 4Gs, you will. But it's not going to be because my landing pages said, this is comfy. Yeah. Branding sold the throne. I didn't have to sell the throne. I didn't even run a throne ad. And I sold $100,000 in throne without a throne ad. Saved $8,000, and I had 80% less traffic to that page.
Have you done an analysis on this client? I don't think we have CRO on them at all, but I mean, have you determined like the pages that you're sending them to for the ads are the same? It's the product page for the product that's being advertised in the ad, I assume. Mm-hmm. Or is it being sent to a collection page? Is it being sent to the homepage? Like, what's the destination? Because
PDP and homepage.
PDP and homepage. Okay.
Philanthropy is going homepage. Vista is going to Vista, throne to throne. Exactly right.
Okay. So they are navigating away from both of those and eventually finding the throne, even though you're not advertising for the throne. So they're upselling themselves. Wally fat people, exactly.
And what's nice is think about the psychology. And this is, if I didn't sell cars for like 3 months, I would have never learned this. And it was a most important lesson because it's reverse of what feels natural.
Yeah.
I can upsell you faster by trying to sell you the cheap car. Then you can downsell yourself after being sold the expensive car. What I mean by this is say, hey, Ralph, you seem like a nice guy. You seem pretty financially stable, maybe a little frugal. I have a really nice 2002 Honda Pilot that is probably going to last another 100,000 miles and is only going to cost you $5,000. It's not as nice as those Maseratis over there, but guys like us, we don't need Maseratis. This Nissan is going to be yours. And you're like, listen here, mother effer, show me those Maseratis right now. Now, if you can't afford a Maserati and I say, hey, check out these Maseratis, it's not like that piece of crap that only you can afford over there, I'm going to leave now because you're not going to go walk yourself over to the loser corner and buy the cheap thing. So if I portray the brand and I showcase the quality of the medium product, you will upsell yourself all day long if you can afford it because it's for a good cause. Bingo.
Self-upsell.
Yep. Media buyers that have not been in salespeople positions at the other agency didn't understand this concept.
So this is just one of those marketing things that makes me realize why I'm in this industry, because just human psychology is just so fascinating.
You got to bring the human aspect back into your data. Data alone will trick you.
Yeah. So they're self-upselling over to the more expensive, even though you don't mention it, you're not running a single ad for those $4,000.
It's the same reason why you don't see Rolex ads on the Super Bowl. I don't need to sell it.
Yeah. Well, if you go to a Rolex store, you can't buy a Rolex anyway. So
that's true. Yeah. They're not available anyway.
I'm on a wait list for a Daytona. It will be for like the next 10 years. But anyway, 10 years I can afford it. Yeah, that is unbelievable. So you're selling so this really is a lesson in branding here in a lot of ways. It's a
lesson in how much ad spend to the content, and are you delivering something that makes people feel good about your product for the full story? They had, hey, we got thrones and we might be running a sale soon. Look how cool they are. And I'm just like, we have changed Martha's life and her 3 daughters. And now they can afford food, housing for your generous purchase of one of our amazing medium tier products. And then a millionaire comes in and says, I'm going to buy 3 hammock thrones. You're welcome, world. I'll take your money and you're happy to do that. But I'm not going to force anybody to do that. That will always happen. There always will be the upper echelon buyers, but do not try to start cold traffic everywhere there. That's a mistake.
So when I bought my, this is a few years back now, when I bought my GT63, which is an AMG, which is what I always wanted, and it was a gift from me to me. I went in, I was getting my SUV, my low-level Mercedes SUV in for an oil change. Mm-hmm. And I was looking for, maybe I'd like replace it with a sedan or something like that. Yeah. And the guy said, I said, well, what's that car over in the corner? He's like, it's a GT63. It's already sold. You can't buy that. It's already claimed. So what do? I walk over there and I'm like,
sorry, Ralph. Sorry, please don't follow me over here.
Exactly what you're saying. Exactly what you're saying. I was like, I'm just going to buy the same car that I got before, but I'm just going to get a sedan because I don't need an SUV because we now have the kids have their own cars, whatever. So it was a completely irrational purchase. And they actually said, you can't even test drive it. I said, that's really too bad because I really would like to. He's like, well,
excuse me, Mr. Salesperson, do you understand who you're talking to?
So he's like, I was like, are you sure it's actually sold? Because it's right here on the floor. And so he goes, let me go talk to the manager. So I went back.
Listen, I pulled some strings.
It's like, we contacted Mr. Burns. First off, they went back and they figured out that I had bought from them before. So I even though I was dressed like I just come from the gym, like with torn shirt and like sweatpants and all this. And so he comes back. He's like, we just talked to the buyer and they will allow you to test drive it in the event that they can't come and pick it up because he's currently on his yacht. And he's not even going to buy it, by the way. He has a glass case in the middle of his house where he's going to actually put this car and never actually drive it.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. So it's the same thing. And of course, I'm like, now I really, really want it. So I ended up test driving it, and somehow the buyer magically disappeared. You know? But the point is this, is that I was in there because Mercedes has great branding, but I upsold myself. And I think this is something, if you do have the higher end products, like why wouldn't you have it? Ryan Dice always used to say it all the time. It's the it's the espresso machine in the back of the Starbucks that nobody buys, but every once in a while somebody will go in there and buy the $5,000 espresso machine, you know, after they get their $7 latte. So it's the slack adjuster, and it's the same thing with this business. So it's almost like you're giving this advice to businesses. You should have your entry level product, which for them, the entry level product is still higher end, but then they have the super high end. They have the espresso machine in the back. Right. And if you build a good enough brand story about all the things that they stand for, people will be buying the espresso machine.
And it's exactly right. And it's the same thing that we look at. Even this can whittle all the way down to like stacks and combinations and that kind of stuff. This here, the CPL purchase, this is our 3-pack. It's our most expensive product. And this product has all 3 of our products in one. You can have our critical immune defense, the critical joint relief, and the critical digestion. So you have all 3 products in one. And it is $130 or something like that. And now you can see the CPA is 112, obviously, because it's not an NC. But if we look at just an NC metric that we can attribute to this, at least, we have spent $30,300 in the last 30 days, 30309 divided by, let's go over here to the right. And then let's do the purchase NC 59 here. This divided by 59. This is $513 ENCAC. That is a much more expensive ENCAC, at least in platform, than the other campaigns that we're running. And we're spending 55 grand on that one. So I'm spending $25,000 more and getting a $200 or $150 cheaper ENCAC. But John, look at the CPA. Why? Well, these are all warm users. And why do warm users buy the 3-pack? Because if I said, hey, Ralph, nice to meet you. I have a product. By the way, want to buy all 3? It's the first time I've talked to you. No, I'm tell me about each one. Maybe I'll try one. But if I said, hey, I have a hammock. Want to buy the $4,000 one? Okay. Do you have a cheaper hammock I could look at first? Idiot. That's a very expensive hammock by any standard.
Right. So
when you have an extremity, you don't start with that because most people are going to go, but you have to pay every single time. People go,
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's obviously this upsell pathways. There's continuity. I mean, I would imagine we've used that example so many times here on the Ad Lab, but on the back end, there is the volume. There's if you're going to buy one, is there a 1-3-6 option, sort of as like the one time or one-click upsell on the back? Yeah, there's the continuity.
Right. Yeah. And those are all things that I think is you can weasel it in there for sure. You could drop it. You can improve here and there. And I may have trailed off. But the point I was originally trying to make is that when you try to sell a 3-pack, it costs us $500, where the main product is $370. But then 80% of those people buy the 3-pack. That's why the CPA is so low.
Okay.
So it's kind of like if you buy one, I can get a return customer for $100 to buy all 3.
Sorry, your screen was like frozen for a second, so I couldn't see it. So anyway,
that's what it was.
I see it now. Yep.
So basically, that's all it was. Is if I start with the most expensive product, my ENCAC is the most expensive.
Yeah.
But if I start with the cheapest product, my ENCAC is the cheapest, and the cost to go from a new customer cheap to a customer coming back and buying the upsell one is actually more profitable. So we figured, okay, it's the loss leader, which makes how humans work. You dip your toe in and then you dive in head first. That's why it's the 2 most common sayings. Am I just going to dip my toe or am I dive head first? Rarely do people just say, what's that? Let me dive in head first.
Yeah. I think just marketing just in general, if you have a product that, we worked with a company that had a pretty extensive e-commerce store. And one of the best things that we ever did, they're like, we can't sell on this was back when Facebook was Facebook. It doesn't matter. We can't sell on Facebook because we're trying to sell all our products that no one's ever heard of. It was like, well, do you have samples of each one? Like they had these the coffee sugars. Like nobody knows like this is a revolutionary concept, like a sugar that's actually flavored like by cinnamon and cardamom and all these others. Like nobody knows what that is. Like I'm not going to go buy like hundreds of dollars of flavored sugars, but if you give me a sample pack, maybe I can test them out, and then I'll figure out which one I like. And then, oh, by the way, make sure that you're keeping in touch with me on text, on email, on retargeting, because I'm on Instagram and on Facebook. That's when we literally sold these things out. And that was our problem with this, working with this company, is that everything that we would do was a sample pack. We sold everything out. And unfortunately, they didn't make their own product. So they had 3PL issues, they had supply issues, supply chain issues, all these other sorts of things. But the point is this, is that if you can get them to a little taste of what you're all about, if you've done a good enough job building the brand, which I think was part of your revelation here, then a lot of the other things start to take care of themselves. And this is where the intersection of brand and performance marketing really does overlap with this new update inside Meta, which is one of the coolest things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was also cool because like when we launched the new campaign in Meta, we saw that the 2 ads that shot up to the top that was speaking about philanthropy, I dug into why. And I thought that was something that is pretty cool. If we go over back into the campaign here, let me just pause cameras. My internet, that's why I think I keep freezing. My internet just keeps going in and out.
Yeah, it might be mine too. I'm gonna freeze my camera here too.
So if we go back here, when we launched the first week worth of ads, basically, we shut off everything and we had just these first 8 ads running. And I chose them because they had the philanthropy model. And I know that's going to be important into the discussion when someone is learning about this company for the first time. And this is the first day of the change. When I launched it was the 6th. I was just done by the 8th. So I always use the day after my last change. But I first started on the 6th. So this one spent $1,600, and this one spent $1,100. So we got $2,700 out of 43. So that's more than half of the spend is going to philanthropy. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm like, why are people resonating with so much? Why do we get the hook rate? And like, why is this kind of being shot up to the top and being seen so often? I'm like, it doesn't seem like its performance is going well. I can't see any like amazing CPA. I can't see any amazing hook rate. These ads are quite old, actually. Unfortunately, they're not new ads. So I don't, I don't think I need to see any sort of like amazing stuff inside the platform. These have been running since January 12th, and it's still March. So I mean, it's not like they're new. I just took over this month. So, but what was interesting is this spend here, when you look at obviously the first week of performance, everything was going crazy. And so I started looking on the site and looking in through the ads. These ads here, yes, they have been running since January, but that was the first time in this company's 4-year career that they ever really talked about philanthropy, about what they do to actually help. Then if you go to the homepage, you see the throne. Okay. Then you see I didn't realize that. And you are sending a lot of this. Yeah. So the philanthropy ads, just if you missed this part, are going to the homepage. Yep. So you got philanthropy ads, and you go to the homepage, and then you see the throne. Right. Like talk about like branding. Anyway, keep going. And then you get all of the, like we've been on Shark Tank, LA Decor, Vogue, Good Morning America. Here's all of our top rated hammocks. Here's all of our, introduction to the brand, consistent with what they just clicked on because it got their attention on the whole philanthropy side of the equation. So anyway, got it. Yep. But and now we've been on Shark Tank. Yeah. But here's what's weird. The philanthropy is 3/4 of the way down the homepage. Interesting. So I noticed that because the philanthropy was 3/4 of the way down the homepage, and statistics show that 54% of the traffic never make it below the first fold. How many people, if we've never run an ad about our philanthropy and it's even hidden on our homepage, how many people actually know about the philanthropy? Yeah. No one. So as soon as this thing started, I was wondering why this thing just took off like a rocket with the ad spend immediately. And then I started seeing obviously the media efficiency ratio double over the course of a week. And I was like, okay, like that's not a thing. Now this top line media efficiency ratio in 2 weeks went up 60%, almost to a 4x top line. That happened after just these 2 ads got $3,000 in spend on it. And they were spending, you can see they were spending a lot of money. I had to cut it in half just to get that spend on there anyway.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of spend on the right message doubled the media efficiency ratio of the company. A little bit of spend on the right message doubled MER everywhere and held for over a month and sold more. So the philanthropy was the unlock. That is so powerful that if we don't test all of these angles, if we're not testing our targeting at the creative storyboard level, we're hacking ourselves off at the knees. We're like setting ourselves up for failure.
Well, the super interesting part to this is, and this is always something that is mentioned with clients when it comes to performance, is, well, I just need better performing. I need the best performing ads to be the ones that just run on. I just want all my ads need to be like the best performers, because they're measuring them based upon their last click attribution or whatever they see inside the platform. When in fact, those ads that you're running, as I saw inside platform, don't look like they're good ads at all. But what you're measuring is MER on the back end, which is the metric that really matters.
That tells me the impact that clicks can't tell me. How do people feel about my brand?
Like, can we just show that? Because I think this is an important point for anyone who is a watcher and a listener of this show. When you say, what is your best performing ad, Mr. Media Buyer or agency or internal team, talking to directors of marketing specifically, it's oftentimes not the one that looks like it's the best performing ad inside the platform. The one that had 7 websites purchases, right? 9 website purchases. Doesn't look like it's that great.
This one here got an $82 CPA. It's almost 4 times cheaper than the top one, John. Why would you only spend $300 out of the $1,600?
John, I'm going to go in there this weekend. I'm going to pause those 2 top ads because they're not performing, and I got to pour more ad spend into the one with $82 purchases. This is the
John, we doubled the media efficiency ratio by telling the world that we've helped 440 families. Knock it off.
Stop it. Stop doing that. I want better performing ads, John. I mean,
it only cost me $1 million to set up in Thailand. Would you stop telling people about it? They like that.
I mean, yeah, in platform, it doesn't look terrible. But the point is, like, I think it's probably not the best example. But still, like the CPA for those ads, the CPA in platform is triple some of the other ads.
Let's do this. Let's look at this. We'll do it
I just want to make sure this point is driven home, because it's the point right now with Andromeda understanding this. So anyway, go ahead.
These 2 ads, 233, 123. All right, so let's call it like a $200 CPA. It's $200 CPA. Okay.
Okay.
In the last, well, not last 14 days. We'll have to do the time period. Let's do just the month before.
Cost per acquisition.
In-app cost per acquisition is $200 CPA, right? If we look at the month before I got here, they were getting $199, $190. They did get a $957, but that only was 20 grand out of 100. And then they got $275, $241. So I'm technically spending more money on higher CPA. And that's what's beautiful. In platform says the CPA is a little higher. The top line says you've doubled the profitability of the company.
Just let's let that hang.
Slightly higher CPA, you've doubled the profitability of the company.
But John, I want better performing ads.
And so I want a better performing client. So please go build me a better hammock. Let me do my job.
Because I hate at the end of the day, because it's so corporate sounding. It's like, let's create synergy and think outside the box. But at the end of the day, it's about making profit.
Yeah. Tell the people what you should tell them as proud about your company. People, we don't know how to sell anymore. That's the thing, is people don't know how to sell a person anything. So data can't tell you how to convince people to buy something. And that's the part that I think is interesting, is we've removed the human element. I don't think this Facebook ad is working. Well, you have 5% of the click-through rate. So you're using data that is 5%. So out of 100 people, you can tell me how 5 felt about that one specific ad. Is that going to help your company? No idea. Who knows? But it's not large enough to tell you any direction.
Yeah.
So attribution is dead and gone.
I mean, an extreme example of this is a case study that will actually go on perpetual traffic soon. We just came out with it just this past week, where our programmatic team started on Taboola, initially native, and now we're on connected TV. We're adding connected TV, and we ramped up all of our meta spend. So if we went into Tier 11 data suite, and you could actually see like the programmatic had CPAs that were like in-app CPAs that were incredibly high, like tens of thousands of dollars.
And the CPA,
the cost per acquisition, the
Wow.
ENCAC, last click ENCAC in Tier 11 data suite was like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're spending $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a month on programmatic, spending more and more on Meta and Facebook, you're spending less on Amazon, less on Google branded search. But the point is this, is that the awareness of the product did not ever get the last click. However, what happened to their MER and their sales? Their sales increased 53% and their MER doubled.
Exactly right. And you know, one of the main catalysts of that, the main metric that you can use to catalyze this, is when you have bad performance over a certain period of time, you can hold spend or you can decrease spend a little bit to try to save face. But if your new visit percentile is dropping 60%, you are having a higher proportionality of that budget go to where it's now costing you $7 every time someone new visits your site. That's now up 113%. If you had to pay twice as much for a gallon of gas, you could drive half as far with the same budget.
Yeah. There you go.
Math.
Math. You said you flunked out of math, didn't you?
I did, like twice. Well, no, I didn't flunk out. I actually got 103, but I had to pay a dude for his homework, and I paid him in sour Skittles.
And now basic math is like the center of everything that we do right now. So
I know.
that and human psychology.
I still have to use Gemini if I need to teach myself my 13-year-old's math, because I don't know how to. My math stops in 6th grade level. But that's pretty much all I need nowadays. Add, subtract, divide, multiply. I never use a square root of something. I don't know what that is.
I don't even know. I don't even know where we would use that. Percentages, knowing percentages is important. Math in your head.
If you have pattern recognition, math comes easy. That's what I learned.
No, that's true. No, I think that is the thing that I think you recognize more so than anything is understanding the patterns and how, when you do X, what comes out the other end, what comes out over on Y.
Analyzing chaos theory. Exactly right. That's all MMM is.
Yeah, it is. So we don't have a ton of questions today, which is kind of wild. Maybe it's
I know we did two. We did two of these, didn't we, this week?
Yeah, I think we sprung this meeting on for a lot of people. But anyway, anything further to add here to our revelatory conversation? Because I think this is the kind of stuff that gets me excited about marketing.
Yeah. And so that's what the next thing that we're basically going to try to do now is, if we can try to adjust the appropriate level of spend for the appropriate level of traffic that we can kind of lock in, so that halo or that wave effect of spend from tofu mofu bofu back to mofu tofu back to mofu bofu, if we can lock that in so that I'm constantly using your conversion rate of a website, bringing 100 people, 10 put it to cart, 1 buys. Do I need to have 80% of my spend in cold? I don't know. Maybe if 50% of the spend on cold is going to be good enough. If I have $100,000 budget, 50% on cold could be amazing, because that means that every dollar I put in is always going to give me the same ECPNV if everything stays the same. The thing that we noticed is that when our quality of traffic started to increase, watch this, and I'm going to pause my camera because it's a little tiny metric and if you want to pause your camera, that'll help. But this is what I noticed is there's an evolution in CPMs. During the first week, I was rewarded with really cheap ECPMV because I dropped my budget, but also I increased my engagement by 100. Oh, there we go. That works. So by dropping my budget 50% and increasing my click rate by 100% allowed me to get more traffic. Now that more traffic allowed my eCPNV to go down 53%. That was down from $6 down to $3, and I got a 3.23. Watch this. See, $3 and 3.23. That's a 50% and 100% up. Last 7 days, it's back up to almost $8. It went to 6, down to 3, almost back up to 8, but my MER's higher. What ended up happening and what I'm watching is I brought in a whole bunch of cold traffic, but now they're becoming buyers. The CPM is going higher, and I have more buyers in my funnel, and I have less top of funnel ad spend, and I have more bottom of the funnel ad spend. So my bottom funnel ads are getting more ad spend, causing my CPM to rise, causing my eCPMV to rise because the traffic's become more expensive, but they're higher quality, higher conversion rate. With that, what are we doing here, Ralph? I'm going to have a seizure.
Just keep clicking buttons here. I was trying to make it full screen, but I could not get it full screen. Anyway, keep going.
So that's what's weird is the conversion rate of this traffic was up 44% when even the cost per new visit went up 44%. So it's almost like Meta's just sending me more buyers and charging me more for it. I don't care as long as the top line holds. Whatever, we'll pay to play. That's the game. I'll leverage the game. I won't try to fight the game. But that's what's interesting is like your traffic costs can go up or down, but it's cheap, quality, cold traffic, more expensive quality conversions. But what if I could lock in that funnel so it doesn't do this? Could I scale that? That's the theory. That's what we're testing.
One of the biggest challenges I've found with, like, we have all these cool tools. We've got Tier 11 Data Suite. We've got, first click CAPI imports with Edge Tag, like all these other sorts of things that a lot of folks don't have the luxury of being able to have that level of precision. If you don't have it, that's fine. Obviously, if you do want it, then you can come over to Tier 11. We'd be happy to talk to you about it. But and I've actually been talking to my podcast co-host about this. Like, how do you measure ENCAC? How do you measure like what you're actually doing? Because what you see inside the platforms is one thing, but what's actually matters the most is where you're collecting the money. And the real metric now that is the guiding light for us as far as how well we're doing, depending on what the economics of the business is media efficiency ratio or blended ROAS. It's no longer ROAS, right? So like, if you don't have these tools, like what's the best way to kind of hack it all together? Is it just because you're not seeing the conversions in Meta? If you're a Meta advertiser and you're on Shopify, for example, is that all you need? And then you just toggle between the two and you just check to make sure that the changes that you're making in Meta are showing up as real customers inside Shopify. Like, simplify that for me and for the watchers.
Yeah, to simplify it in a very, very simple sense of trying to make sure that you're measuring what you're spending. You always want to have your goal. If you don't have a goal, I can show you 10 different things and they all will be right or wrong, depending upon what your goal is. So in our goal in Bully Stick Central, as an example, we want more new customers, but of trachea tubes. Now, this last week sucked, unfortunately. Yes, we knew that.
Trachea tubes? What?
Yeah, sorry. We sell dog chews, and so we have beef cheeks, trachea tubes. We have all these body parts.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We have cow body parts. So I speak in cow parts now. But we can see that our
chews out of tracheas. Wow, they're using every part of the cow is used.
Yeah. Every part of the cow is used. Exactly right. So here's what happened is our sales went down 32% this week. We know why. We launched a bunch of new different ads because we were too heavily concentrated. We had one campaign on beef cheeks, and that was the only thing that we're selling. So we said, guys, we got to diversify. We can't just always sell beef cheeks. So we did pig ears. That's up 500%. We did collagen. That's up 264%. We did gull strips. That's up 164%. So you'll see, I checked this today. The last viewed gross profit March 6th. Oh, I viewed it today. I even can show you on the call. Anyway, what we looked at here is that the week over week, if we look at the last 7 days here, check out trachea tubes. The trachea tubes here, the beef trachea tubes, had 7. The week before for beef trachea tubes had... Oh, no, it wasn't this one. It's another one. We have 2 trachea tubes. Dang it. I forgot exactly the date. Anyway, let me just do this. We have a minute left. We have a minute left. It's worth it. I'll get it to there because you can actually kind of see the in platform. But if we look at the Bully Stick Central, Trachea tubes went live. Trachea tube. We're just putting a whole bunch of new stuff in here. So Trachea tube, this one went live when? Okay, no, sorry. This one went live on the February 21st. So February 21st to this time period, we have Trachea tubes 11. The time period before that, if I just had to go to Saturday to Thursday, the previous Saturday to Thursday, that's 1, 2. So here, 11. The time period before that was where was the other one? Beef tracheas.
And this somewhat answers Brandon's question here. Like, what tools do you use? And we do use
5.
like,
sorry, 5
platform
to 11.
and Shopify. Right. Got it.
Yep. So 5 to 11, it went up by 6. Okay. It went up by 6. How much did we spend? $300. Are we happy about that? Well, $299 divided by 6 is a $49 ENCAC. What was our top line ENCAC this week after focusing on trachea tubes? It went up high to $70. Why? Well, our normal $55 ENCAC went up to $75 because all the beef cheek people, we showed them trachea tubes. They said, I don't want that. But the people that said yes, it was actually more efficient. Keep going. That's what that told us. Remember, when you add something new to Meta, it goes against the old people. So there is nothing that you can actually look at data-wise that says if it's going to perform, because your test is going to say, I showed your new ad to old people. They didn't like it. I said, I know. I went ahead in that direction. Don't go there. They said, well, we have to do that anyway. I said, I know. Go find new. Your test is designed to fail because it will go back to the old people. You cannot test the old people on your new direction. You can test, wait, and when it starts making sales, you grow. What we tested with is spend and trachea tubes. We sent it to the old people. Didn't look that great. In platform, everything went bad. But the spend on trachea tubes and the allocation of actual sales on trachea tubes is ENCAC approved. That $300 is approved. Spend more. So that's what we're seeing. It hurt everything, but it grew what was important. And we need diversification rather than singularity.
Makes sense. Last question for you. I know we're at time, but a data visualization tool. I know there's a tool. I forget the name. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name right now. You use
Lifetimely?
It's got a free trial for 30 days, and it like pulls all the data.
By the numbers?
By the numbers. By the numbers
is great. That's a good level 1. Lifetimely, a good level 2 without attribution. And then if you want everything, Data Suite. Yep.
Data Suite. There you go.
Cool.
All right.
Did it.
John,
awesome, sir. This is fun
You're
stuff.
the man, buddy. And by the way, me and John are actually going to hang out live.
Yeah. Monday, I think, right?
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah,
16th. So we'll be back, I think, next week. I'm actually off next week. That's the
Actually, I am too. Oh, wait, no, not next week. I leave on the week of the 18th. That's right. Crap. Well, you know what we'll do is I'll probably do next week. And then the week after that, I could probably just do it I'll be live from California.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, well,
Yeah,
stay tuned on a tier 11 social channel near you to know exactly when we're going to be doing the next one, because there's a lot of travel coming up the next couple of weeks. Anyway, John, as always, amazing stuff.
Fun stuff.
Until next week, everybody. Thanks for joining the Ad Lab, cooking up chaos in the conversion kitchen. See ya.
Yep. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.